And then on top of that, the one I want to talk about the most, and I just completed today, earlier today.
Go ahead.
Bramble, the Mountain King.
The Bramble.
No.
You mentioned it earlier.
No.
So Bramble, I'm going to say Nordic folklore. Think inspired by Nordic folklore. You are a little boy.
Oh my.
And your sister goes missing in the middle of the night.
Oh no.
And you go out into the night, into the wilderness to find her. And it is based on a whole bunch of fairy tales or Nordic folklore, like I said. And you walk your way through the forest and see, you sneak around to not get attacked, and you fight. You see like hideous, grotesque, monstrous creatures that are, it's very much like fairy tales before Disney gets their hands on them. So it's that kind of fairy tale stuff. So the game is very violent. The game is very bloody. The game is spooky. The game is uncomfortable. The game has some very dark. Basically, you go through and learn about, I don't know how inspired by actual folklore they are or how much it's developers doing their own thing, but you go through certain characters in the game as you're finding your sisters. So there's like,
you play as these characters?
You play as the boy walking through the forest to get to your sister, and you encounter characters. Like there's one that's kind of like a Pied Piper who plays a violin that lures people out of a town.
Wait, he's a piper. Why does he have a violin?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Whatever.
A pied violinist.
A pied violinist.
Okay.
Fiddlist.
So, and this
fiddler.
This character, this monstrous character. I think the story was they used to play for. Oh yeah, they played for their wife, and they played for the wife all the time to show their wife how much they loved them. And the town hated the guy because he never played. So the town used to beat the crap out of him when he played and harassed him because they're like, go play somewhere else. Nobody wants to hear this. So eventually they ended up killing him. And in the afterlife, he comes around and he woos people out of the town and kills them now.
They deserve it.
Absolutely.
So in the game, also, I should make this point. In the game, you think you're a normal sized kid, but you quickly come to find out like you're tiny and like the environments are huge. So like this thing that's chasing you, this violinist, is like 10 times your size, and you're in the water like jumping on lily pads to get away, and its face like comes up out of the water like right by you, and its eyes are right here. You're like, oh my god,
that's the troll in at Epcot.
Yes,
that scared the crap out of you.
So like this thing is chasing you, and it's like there's a section of mud you have to run through, and you're desperately trying to get through the mud, and the thing's like crawling behind you, and it's like it's it's huge. So you see like its face and its torso. It plays like a Limbo. Yes, you're exactly right. Except it's not 2D; it's 3D. So it's like grabbing
anywhere, or like you're on a
no,
track?
it's a path, but you're not on a 2D track. You run. It's linear, but open path linear. So you can run anywhere on the screen, basically, but it's steering you in a direction. So when this thing is chasing you, you can run it wherever you want to in the mud, but it's like grasping at you and like groaning and like dragging itself through the mud, and you're just barely getting out in time. And then it plays the violin in another part, and it goes like burr and like strums across it, and like a wave of sound flies out, and you have to be hiding behind something.
Nakamura's
That's
entrance.
right. Because if you're not hiding, you get blown away. Like the sound wave like blasts you into a wall and destroys you. It's awesome. So the boss battles in this game are really cool because they're all based on these whatever folklore inspired characters. There's really dark stuff, like a woman who wants to become a witch and she has to sacrifice her baby. And
worth it.
Somebody who's in the water that gets wayward travelers when they're traveling over water. It comes in their boat and puts its hand behind their face and puts them to sleep, and like they drift out. It like all kinds of very spooky stuff, and it's great. The atmosphere is great. But yes, it plays like Limbo. Soundtrack is phenomenal.
So it's like a cinematic platformer.
Yeah, I'd call it a cinematic platformer, but it's 3D. And it's not on a 2D
So the boss
path.
fights, like you're not like fighting back. It's more about like
no, you fight. I don't want to say you're running up and punching and kicking them or anything. You get something in the game that allows you to quote unquote fight, and it's not like you're just dodging attacks. There's things you have to do to hurt them.
Gun?
It's not a gun. There is a sword at one point, but it's a winner for me, man. I saw the trailers before this or before the game came out, and I was very excited. I also saw the trailers and I was like, well, there's no chance this game is coming to Switch because I was at the trailers. I was like, what a gorgeous looking game. And then they announced it for Switch and I was like, wow, that's surprising. And then they announced it same day as other platforms. And I was like, oh, wow.
But this is
A video game.
cloud. Is this the
No,
one that you
this is
said?
not
Oh,
cloud.
okay.
This is a
Oh.
native port. And it is seriously impressive on the Switch to the point that I did something that I never do. I took screenshots while I played because I was like, look at this. This looks really impressive for Switch. How does it run? It runs surprisingly well. I can think of maybe they send an email for review copies. I got to write my review this week. I just finished it last night, but the review email was like, please note that there's a patch coming out on day 1 that will fix the stuttering, the stutter that happens in the first boss fight. I played the game. I didn't see anything. I didn't see any
Well,
stutter.
you had the fix. You
No,
had
I
the
didn't.
patch.
Day 1 just happened. It just came out.
Oh, you had this game before day 1.
Yeah, I've had it for a little over a week now. I just finished it last night.
Oh.
So really, there are a couple points where it'll miss a couple frames or something, but from what this game looks like and what I thought would be impossible on a Switch to how it runs, I'm blown away. I really think like these developers, I wish I knew their names off the top of my head. They deserve a lot of credit because they seriously pulled off something impressive here. Now, it's one of those games where it always looks better further away than it does close up because you're a little kid in a big environment. So there are times when the camera pulls in really close and the textures don't look as good because they're meant to be viewed from afar. But man, I was impressed visually. I gotta say, overall visuals, I like the theme and I like the art. You know, I'm not big on realistic graphics, but from a standpoint of what the Switch can do and what they managed to do with this game, this is parity with other systems. No levels removed, no enemies removed, nothing. It's just, you know, some lighting will be different and the graphics won't be as good, but very impressive. So overall, I've been in a funk for a while with games since Jesus, what did I play? I don't even remember what put me in the funk. I was just like, that was an amazing game, and now I don't even remember what the game is.
Oh, Meg's Monster.
Yeah, Meg's
Tron was a
Monster.
good one. Meg's Monster. You're exactly right. Tron was a great one, yes. But this game took me out of that funk. I played this and I was like, that's exactly what I needed. It was great. So
Nice.
it just
Dim
really
Frost
clicked for me.
Studios. Dim Frost.
I don't even know what else they've done.
I'm looking it up.
But it's on every system, so don't feel like you got to get it on Switch. Obviously, Switch would probably be the worst place to play it graphically, and I would say probably from a technical standpoint too. But it's on every system. Play it everywhere. I only played the Switch version. Phenomenal. I think it's a fantastic game, start to finish. If you are into a Limbo-esque game, the puzzles are not where you're like, I don't know what to do here. How do I figure? It's, you know, pushing boxes, climbing on things, that kind of puzzle. There is one room at the end where there's a puzzle that you have to figure out. And I was like, that was a real, the solution comes about organically. There's nothing pointing you anywhere. There's nothing, no hints, nothing telling you anything. So I really liked that puzzle, but mostly it's jumping, pushing boxes, climbing stuff, raising and lowering things, finding out how to like mount something, all that kind of stuff.
Hey,
So
Sign me
I'd
up.
be really curious for any of you, because I know you guys have all dabble in that genre. I'd be curious for one of you to play it and see what you think, because it's a winner for
Their
me.
other game-
It's a winner.
Their
Sounds like
other
I'd
game is
be into this.
A Writer and His Daughter, which is a VR story exploration
it.
game. This is part 1 of a trilogy. so-
They
Oh.
these guys, from gameplay perspective and storytelling perspective and a technical perspective, seriously impressed me. So
Try perspective.
I don't know what else to tell you, but I loved it.